it looked like everything was there. Everything but the trees. Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode on the Big Dane podcast. Oh my gosh, Christmas is this week. How crazy is that? I mean, who else has been counting down? I kind of started the countdown last week because I thought, well, 1 week out, why not? Right? Maybe if you have a little advent calendar, right? And you open kind of each day. Maybe it's a piece of candy. We actually used to do that growing up, and we had this little Santa Claus calendar thing, and it was like cloth. And we would just like hang it on the door, and then like every morning, my mom, she would like put in like little Hershey Kisses or something, or a piece of chocolate, and that was like the countdown for us. And sometimes we would receive like a little maybe a little like a paper kind of advent calendar to open it up. But anywho, but yeah, I can't believe it. Especially now, obviously still the COVID time, so not as fun, but hey, this is something to look forward to, so that kind of brightens up the mood, right? So I don't have any walk updates, but I'll tell you a quick story about a breakfast sandwich that I made. Oh my gosh. So we had some extra shallots, and I thought, I'm gonna cook these up. Cooked up some extra shallots. We used some of this like chili oil for like bread. So there's like a little bit left. So I thought, you know what? I'm going to kind of cook it up in this oil. And then I also added pears, a little bit of pears for a little sweetness. All right. And then we do have bacon. So I was like, oh, let me just throw in a strip of bacon. So I like cooked, the onions and the pears like first, took them out. Then I cooked the bacon, took it out, and then I scrambled up an egg, put some seasonings in it, and then put back the pear and the shallots in the pan, and poured over the egg mixture, and just scrambled it up. And obviously I put cheese in it because I love cheese. And then I put it all on this like grainy, like seedy roll that we got from Wegmans. So it was pretty great. And I will say I did add this like hot honey sauce that we just got from the Pieri farm, basically, when we were over at Bar Luca last Sunday. They had all these goodies. They had a little standout with all like food and things that you could take away. So, oh my gosh. But yeah, it was absolutely delicious, and highly recommend that combination between the pears, shallots, a little bit of bacon. If we had blue cheese, I know not many people, maybe you don't really like blue cheese or like a gorgonzola, but that would have gone like pretty great. So maybe next time. So obviously, if you didn't catch the beginning there, but we're going to be talking about Christmas. Yeah. Spoiler alert, right? So, yeah, 3 days away. Like, is everyone done their shopping? I hope so, because you can't get anything like last minute shipped to your house, or even like shipped to someone else's house. Someone else's house. And then, not as many people might be going out to like Target, or like, I don't even know what the mall is doing these days, since I haven't been since the fall. But yeah, it's just like, this is it. So hopefully you got all your gifts in time. I know, because they kept saying like on the news about all the shipping, and like you got to order it by here, and they kind of like went through like Amazon and Walmart and things like that to try to see like what was going to be on time and what was going to be delayed. And I mean, I can even say for myself, we do a Pollyanna at Matt's family every year, and one of the gifts I got his sister, it's funny, it was like, oh, it's going to be arriving today, and then it like literally said that for like 3 days, and she kept asking me. She's like, "Is it coming?" I'm like, "It hasn't updated," because I did the notifications via text just so I can like keep an eye on it. Because she was saying that some people have been taking some of their gifts like off their porch there. So I'm like, fuck, like this better not happen. So luckily it was fine, but it was a little bit delayed. So I don't know if anyone else has been experienced that, but that is what's going on. So hope you got everything. But yeah, I'm just gonna basically just kind of go through everything between decorating and baking all the cookies and maybe some traditions and things like that. So hope you can relate, or if you have some interesting tradition you have, or now it might be a little different because we can't really be with like everyone in our family, but hey, we're gonna make the best of it. So I'm gonna start off with the decorating, because I feel like that's kind of like the first thing that happens, at least like for us. So I mean, usually I tend to wait after Thanksgiving, but when you're here at home, like all the time, like what else are you gonna do? I already cleaned, I already maybe did a workout video, maybe I took a nap, so now it's like, all right, still got like 10 hours left in the day. um, so yeah, I don't know. So this year I think I started a little bit early. Maybe it was like a few days before Thanksgiving, but I thought, well, let me put out some, and then maybe post Thanksgiving I'll like put out the rest. But I mean, honestly, I did kind of put like all of them out. So, yeah. Oops. But always I'll say right after Thanksgiving, Matt and I have been getting the tree, the day after. So last year when we moved in together into Conchi here, we went over to Miles Park because we saw that, I think it must have been in More Than Curve, I want to say, we saw that the Boy Scouts were going to be there. And so Matt is an Eagle Scout, so he, wanted to support. It wasn't like his same troop or anything like that, but, all the same. So did that, and last year was like a pretty like full tree. And, these row homes like aren't that wide, so it was kind of just needles everywhere, like all over the floor. The pine needles, people, the pine needles. Oh gosh. So yeah, I mean it was nice. And what I did like is that it smelled. It smelled of the pine, right? So I don't know if anyone doesn't like the smell or chooses not to get that kind of tree, but it's like only certain trees smell, which I didn't realize. It's like I don't even know because I'm not going to try to repeat it, but yeah, there's a specific kind. So like we did last year, we're like, all right, well, why don't we go over there? And I was like trying to Google like online. I was like, maybe I missed this on More Than the Curve. And because I couldn't find anything for like 2020. So I'm like, all right, well, at least it's like not that far. So like we went over there, and then you could see like maybe they were getting set up because they had like the wooden pallets and things like that to hold up the tree, but no one was there. So we're like, all right. So in the meantime, and what I had seen before was they were going to have trees at the country library. Just go, no problem, right? No problem. So we do a little scoot around the parking lot real quick from Moss Park, shoot over to Country Library. Okay, so Country Library is really close to the Deli on 4th, Donnie Max, right? So we parked on the same side as Donnie Max so we could like cross the street. And they really had like it looked like everything was there. Everything but the trees. We're like, wait a second. I'm like, I thought, because they just have like a little sign. It was like trees are here, and then there's like an arrow, and I'm like, well, where is that arrow pointing to? Is it in the parking lot behind the library? Like, what's going on here? Like, where are you hiding the trees? Who took all of the trees? Did it just get like swept through like from a full family? Yeah, so what we found out was that was Black Friday. So they weren't going to be there until like Saturday. So we're like, all right, well, let's just go get lunch at Deli on 4th. And then so we picked up, a couple hoagies, and then we holy god, we just said like, all right, let's just come back tomorrow and like we'll get it. So sure enough, we came back the next day, got our tree, and the guy was super nice. His name was Brad, and him and his son, like they have like the whole business and things like that. And yeah, we like were all prepared to like put the tree on the top of Matt's car, and like we have like a tarp, to protect the top and whatnot. And the guy's like, oh, like you said, you live blah blah, which I'm not gonna repeat because I don't want any stalkers. But so then he like just threw the tree like in his truck, and then just met us down the street. So, and he dropped it off for us. So it was like super nice and kind, and it's just nice to like support local. So glad that we could help there. Yeah, so now once like we got it inside the house and everything like that, we just started decorating it. So I don't know about you, but like I love to play Christmas music when I'm decorating the tree. So of course, and people can take it or leave it, but I do love me some Mariah Carey Holiday. Yeah, so I just tell Alexa, like, yo, can you please put on Mariah Carey Holiday Station? Putting on Mariah Carey Holiday. And then it's just like, boom. So it's like a little bit of like tradition, a little bit of like pop, some Ariana Grande comes up in there. Santa Tell Me, that's one of my favorites. So it was all good and fun, and we decorated it, and it was just lovely. It was so good. And what else did we decorate that day? Oh, well, we had already put up some lights outside that just kind of outline our windows. But that's like the only thing like we really had last year. So I was like, I kind of want something else. So then like we sat down and looked at like, could we get like some other kind of light, or like, I don't know, with the yard like not being that big, like you don't want something too large and then you can't even see your house. Like that looks a little ridiculous, a little cheesy. So what we did, Matt saw these like solar lights, and I was like, kind of like, oh, I don't know, like, are they even gonna like go on? Like, because we do have some like regular solar lights, but they, came with the house, so like I don't know how old they are or whatever, and they seem to be working. So I was like, all right, let's give it a try. So we got these really cool little solar lights, and then like they just change different colors, like all different like Christmas colors. So it looks pretty cool. Um, but yeah, we won't have them out like obviously like year round, because then it just looks like you have Christmas lights year round, and who wants that? No. So that was pretty fun. Glad we got the lights. They look pretty nice. I was kind of nervous since it just snowed. Like, I'm like, oh my god, are they gonna be okay? But just because if there's obviously snow on top for the solar and the sun can't get there, then shit, you're out of luck. But all good, all good. So that's about it with like the decorating. I mean, what do you guys like tend to do? Do you wait till like after Thanksgiving? Are you someone that starts like in like before Thanksgiving, like beginning of November and you're putting up shit. Like, I just gotta take a sip of water. Whew. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I feel like I personally don't know anyone that starts that early. I feel like usually around the same time of like right after Thanksgiving, maybe kind of leading up or whatever. So I don't know. You tell me. But oh, quick story actually. Um, so we actually went over to the Shady Brook Farm over there in Yardley to do like the drive-through lights. Wow. What they don't tell you is like literally how long this line is to get into the freaking parking lot to like see the lights. So we were trying to do like a little family thing and we were all in our separate cars and I was like, wow, it took us like 15 minutes to go maybe maybe like an eighth of a mile. So we're like, oh my gosh. So my parents were ahead, and like Scott and Abby were on their way. And so we end up getting to this point where we're kind of like across from like a corporate like business center. And I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna like pee my pants if we don't get out of the car. Where am I gonna go? Like, Matt, take the wheel while I go run across the street and pee because the cars aren't moving. Like, what are we doing? So what we did, I thought, you know what? I would like to walk around and see what else they have outside. Like, I don't want to just go home. We literally just got here and it's like after 8 o'clock, and just to turn around and go home like would be like just like a letdown. And so I was like, why don't I was like, we could like walk there. Cause at this point we were probably maybe by the time I had parked in this parking lot, we were only a half mile away. It's like, oh my God, duh. Let's park the car and then we'll just walk around. So then the first thing we got there, we got a beer. Hell yeah. But yeah, so if you plan to go, like, go during the week, like at a very off time, because this was hell. Yeah, not so fun. So that was my quick little story for you. Because I thought of all the lights. I don't know about you, but I just like kind of like enjoy like seeing other people's lights. It gives me joy, and it like just like puts a smile on my face and be like in a better mood, and So I mean, how are you guys decorating outside? Anything like fun, or do you have like one of those giant um like eagles like blow up like go birds or whatever, or what do you guys have? Oh my gosh, I can't believe I've been talking already for so long just on lights. So I may have to save a lot of this for next year. um what I do want to share is kind of a couple of traditions. So growing up, my dad, he would always get these German and Austrian cookies. And so the one is called Springerles, and it's kind of like ooh, excuse me. It's for my breakfast sandwich. They're like rectangular shaped, a little bit thick, kind of like an off-white color. And I feel like there's always some kind of like pretty pattern on the top, like that maybe like they like rolled into the dough or something like that. And it has like this anise flavor to it. So if you don't know what I'm talking about the licorice, that licorice little bit of like hint. So some people don't like that, but I enjoy it. And so that's the Austrian one, which I didn't realize until like I literally called my dad yesterday. I was like, so tell me about these cookies. What do you know? What do you know? What do you know? And then the other ones, which I really like, and I think a lot of people would like too, because it's gingerbread. They're called pfeffernuss. Um, they're gingerbread. They're like small little like circles. I wouldn't say it's like a ball because it's not like it's flat like on one side. So it's just like a gingerbread little baby cookie, and then it's covered in powdered sugar. Ah, oh, very good, very good, very good. And then another thing that he would do every year too, um, And I guess I'll pause real quick because he actually, as a kid, like he would always remember getting these German and Austrian cookies since both of his parents were German. So yeah, that's the little quick story behind it. But what else he would do for us, and this I honestly God, I remember this as a kid as long as I can remember. And he would always put these gingerbread man cookies just like peeping out of the stocking stuffer. Yeah. I mean, so with my parents' house being bi-level, we would have the tree upstairs, and then after we opened everything up there, we would go downstairs, and that's where like the fireplace was and everything. And then right above the mantle, we had all of our stockings. And so, late at night, he would go down there to put the gingerbread men there. It was just like so cool, like such a cool idea. And I was like, Dad, so like, what's the story behind the gingerbread men? I thought like maybe he had them like as a kid, but he had been Christmas shopping like anyone else and looking for little treats and things, and happened to see these gingerbread men at the Upper Dublin Bakery. And he just kept going back there each year and would put them in our stockings. And they were like so good. They were kind of like a harder like cookie, so it's not like thick and cakey kind of, texture. Um but I will say then like over the years, this has to be at least 5 years if not more that the bakery closed. So my dad's like, shit, Scheiße, in German. And so then he had to look for a different bakery. So he found this other bakery in Willow Grove, Weinrichs, and they had the gingerbread, but it was a little bit thicker. So, more of that cakey kind of texture. But my dad, he wasn't like a fan of them like too much. So then he tried like another one in Flowertown, and that was more similar to the Upper Dublin Bakery. But then they closed. We're like, what the hell is going on here? So like after that one closed, I'm like, Dad, listen. I was like, let's sit down. Every year now, it seems that these bakeries keep closing. So why don't you just make them your own? Like, make your own, right? Like, why not? And so ever since I'd said that a few years back, he's been making his own gingerbread man. Yeah. And he decorates it, but it's definitely a process. Like I think the one year I did help him because there's like so much involved, like chill the dough for 24 hours, roll the dough for 28 hours, eat the dough for 48 hours. No, it's like but no, really was actually kind of a long process. So I could see how, not many people may like that kind of like deters them from baking because some recipes for cookies or whatever it is like are really really involved. So that's what's going on. I will say aside from that, and growing up, I grew up Lutheran, so we would go to church on Christmas Eve, and then we would like go out to dinner after, or sometimes we would just like make dinner at home and like have like some kind of like seafood and things like that, and just like a nicer dinner. And then Scott and I, we would open like one gift, and with having video games back in the day, and well, I guess now too, but you know what I mean. So we were like, let's try to like or I think we would ask my mom, we're like, which one is the video game? So we could play like on like my Xbox and PlayStation, and I think maybe we were playing like whatever that game was, the snowboarding. And yeah, I just remember like Kenny G music playing in the background, maybe some Luther Vandross. We're just like hanging around, and then we'd probably like put on a movie and watch Christmas Vacation. Oh my God, Chevy Chase, like hilarious. So if you haven't watched it, please watch it. Okay. But yeah, I mean, after that, I think as the years went on, then, and, coming back from college on break, and, I was like, do I have to go to church? But real talk, real talk, real talk. So then, like, Scott and I, we would just like hang out at home, and then, you know, just like start a new tradition. um, and then, it's kind of like, I don't know, it's part of like growing up, getting older, becoming an adult. And I think as those things happened, things kind of, start to change, especially when Scott and Abby like were dating. And at the time I was in a long-term relationship, so it was always trying to find out like, well, who's going to be here for like Christmas Eve, or who's going to be here for Christmas Day, blah, blah, blah. And so yeah, so it's like sometimes we wouldn't always have it with everyone for like Christmas, which like I feel like it would always like kind of make me sad a little bit, because you're used to like having your family there for like those holidays like 24/7. And that wasn't always the case, and that's fine, but it's like just something to like accept and like realize. And then you just kind of go on with it, and you try to find different ways to get everyone together, and, just spend it that way. So I'm sure like other people can probably relate, right? And I will say, with having said all that, like, I think I probably woke up at my parents' house like on Christmas Day probably like for most of my life. I think maybe the only time was when I went to visit my ex at the time, but I think literally every single time was there Christmas Eve, woke up Christmas morning. Yeah. Yeah, and even last year, because I remember we were trying to figure out between like, my family and Matt's family, and like who, Christmas Eve here, we'll do Christmas Day at Matt's family's parents, It's all like trying to like figure it out and compromise and everything. So like yeah, last year I stayed there. And so it's like like this is the first year like I won't be there because of fucking COVID and trying to figure shit out, but it's okay. It's okay. It could be worse. As I like to think, and it's what I typically say. Yeah, and the past 2 years, like I was saying before, like with Matt's family, we've been doing like a Pollyanna, so that's been kind of nice. And so I actually suggested that for my family this year, just to like, why don't we just pick one person, and then you could spend like a little bit more and like get them something nice or like whatever. So we did that. Sheesh. What else I got on here? Yeah, I think, I won't. Oh my gosh. I'm running out of time. So I'm going to share some of my favorite Christmas movies. So 100% Home Alone. Who's with me? Yeah, 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 yeah. It's just a classic, How about Elf? Will Ferrell. Like, yo, I'm pretty sure that came out like already like 2004, which it honestly doesn't feel that long ago that Elf came out. And then to think 2004, holy shit, like I was 14. Don't quote me on that, but I'm like 99% sure it was 2004. So, and then I do really enjoy like Polar Express, if anyone's seen that. Obviously Christmas Vacation, as I already said. If you want a little extra laugh, a little more modern Christmas, right? The Bad Moms Christmas with Mila Kunis. Yeah. It's pretty funny. I really enjoyed it. It was cracking up. I had to like watch it by myself. And yeah, I think those are like pretty much like the top for me. Oh, you know what was funny too? Matt and I, we watched A Christmas Carol, but like the Muppets version of it. I was like, did I see this? And I must have seen it when I was like 4 years old, because I like had remembered some of it, but I'm like this thing, I've like literally no idea like who Kermit? Miss Piggy? So, oh my gosh. But I didn't get a chance to talk about everything, so I'll have to save some of these other things for next year. But I'm gonna wrap it up for you guys. I see I'm basically out of time. So I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you are looking forward to Christmas. Um, and finding different ways to celebrate safely with everyone. I know it's just still like strange, especially with these major holidays and having it so differently in the past, and then it's like, well, now what do you do? So get creative, talk to each other, check in on each other. We're at the end of the year now. Like, I'm sure people's mental health still is a little wonky. So just be sure to, call someone up real quick. Do a little voice audio if you don't feel like texting, right? So check in. Merry Christmas to everyone. Happy holidays. And be sure to listen on the bigdanepodcast.com/podcast. So Spotify, Google, Stitcher, Apple, it's all there for you. It is all there. I know I've been slacking with my extra content page on coffee. And that's like the little like coffee icon on my website, but I'm trying to plan to do more soon. So keep an eye and make sure to follow me on Facebook and Instagram for all those fun updates. So hope you enjoyed it. Have a wonderful week. Have a great Christmas. And I'll see you next week for some New Year's shit. All right. Peace out, my friends.